purge on some mod. Show him the dick print, then hit him with the rod. The love doctor tell you how to get the Ichabod. Crane, Adam Rowe, Colin Wayne. How do they maintain when they clinically insane? You keep it so loud that we spitting your refrain. Adam Story got a point if you let him explain. Get the pun of all puns, get a pun with Papa Wayne. Rum tapping the vein, and I'm minutes bringing pain. MHOG secreting, leaving a stain. You ain't as dope as us, bitch. Stay in your lane.
Welcome back to the Metal Hand of God podcast. I am your reliable host, Adam. Not with me today is Rum, who has strep throat, or Wayne, who is a little bitch. Yep, and he's going to hear that. He's just going to have to deal with being a little bitch. I mean, that's what it is. So, since, I can't sit here and just ramble into a mic. I mean, I could, but I would just stop and re-record like 15 times. So instead, I asked for a very special guest. Mr. Do you want to use your last name? I don't know if you've ever used your last name on a podcast.
I don't know if I have either. I mean, I don't care. I've never not given it out on purpose.
You know what? You're on this show.
Makes you feel comfortable.
Let's just go with just Kenny.
There we go.
I don't want anybody getting in trouble for being on this show. Sometimes I think, we both have English friends, and some of them have been on this show, and I think about it sometimes, and I'm like, they could be arrested for being on this show in England.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There's
how's that work? Are there podcasting rules in England that you're not allowed to?
No, but there's hate speech laws, and what I do could be qualified as hate speech.
There's a rule in San Francisco. I know this because my wife and I, we were just looking into, we were considering moving to California. We were just there on vacation, and just for shits and giggles, we were pulling up random stupid California laws because Lord knows there's plenty of those fucking stupid laws out there. And it is illegal to walk the streets of San Francisco if you are classified as ugly. So neither you or I would be able to walk the streets freely.
I mean, if you shaved, you'd be okay, but I'm not aware of that.
Funny you say that, because I was out there a couple of years ago, and I let a couple friends of mine know that rule existed, and they're like, "How the fuck did you make it?" And I was like, "Well, that's because back then I didn't have a beard. I hadn't grown my hair out. I wasn't considered an ugly motherfucker 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now I am."
Well, I can tell you right now, I don't know the exact specifics of your finances, but you sure the fuck can't afford to live in San Francisco.
No, nobody can.
But yeah, California. I love California, but I could not live there. I wish I could visit like every year, but couldn't live there. Couldn't live there. So
no, it's outrageous.
But you I guess you can't say you undertook a new venture. You sort of re-embarked on a venture recently.
Indeed. You wouldn't happen to be referring to the Grim Grinning Hosts podcast, would you?
I would.
Former podcast of Mr. Adam yourself, former host. You know, technically you are still a part. We left you in the new artwork.
Yeah. So my friend Travis did the artwork, and not the Travis that's on the show. And he told me he was going to put DB number 1 on there, which stood for Dick Brother number 1. And I made a comment about, yeah, well, why don't you just put DB number 2 under the new co-host that's replacing me? Which I guess he missed that part, because he has, so my head is kind of at the bottom of the screen, and he wrote DB number 2 on it, which looks like just casually douchebag number 2.
Yeah.
And,
there was a clearly a miscommunication there.
Yeah, I saw he showed it to me before he sent it to Hunter, and I was like, I'm not gonna.
My favorite part about it is because you mentioned you're down in the bottom of the picture. You're under me. You appear to be blowing me in the picture. If you go and you look at it,
That's a weird fantasy. I've not noticed that at all.
that's my favorite part about that artwork. Dick Brother number 2 is just blowing me. It's fantastic.
Not so. Well, congratulations. So y'all put up 3 new episodes.
We did. Apparently, there's some sort of law or rule with podcasts.
No. I told Hunter to do that when the original show first launched, just because it's good to give people a really strong taste of you. That came out wrong.
I was to say, how's that going for you, buddy?
Nobody's been
getting a strong taste of me.
Actually, somebody's tasted me recently, but that's nobody's business. No, I did notice though, like y'all recorded 3 episodes before you put anything out, and y'all already have a guest, like a replacement host. Travis didn't make one of the episodes.
Does that surprise you? Travis couldn't make an episode?
A little, like like at least for the first 3 episodes. Also, y'all did a Halloween Horror Nights episode without a dude who has a podcast about Halloween Horror Nights.
Well, that's because the guests that we had on were way more important than Travis. So we just gave him the boot for that episode.
Apparently.
That's really what it came down to.
Well, congratulations.
I mean, we love Travis, but
yeah, you sound like it. Congratulations on the relaunch. I am not part of it.
Thank you.
And even if I'm part of your artwork, I'm not on the show anymore. And
dude, we'd love to have you back. I mean, it's not like we've shut the door entirely on that possibility. We'd love to have you back as a guest. We can boot Travis off any goddamn time. I mean, you're good friends with our new co-host, Brad, from the Jurassic Park podcast. The biggest Jurassic Park fan you're ever going to find anywhere, Brad.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the trailer, the new trailer?
I did, yeah.
What did you think of it?
I mean, I'm pumped for that new movie. The first movie was my favorite movie of all time, and debatably it went downhill. Jurassic World was a solid movie. What I like about this one is they brought in J.A. Bayona as the director, and he's a horror guy, and this has got a lot of horror vibes, and I'm a big horror fan, so you're combining 2 things I love into a movie, and it looks terrific. I don't know, it looks solid. I know there's a lot of complaining, but I feel like that's just the internet in general. Everybody's gonna bitch about everything. I'm excited for it.
I mean, I'm not.
How about you?
I'm not gonna bitch about it, but I saw Avengers last night, late at night, and the trailer was in front of it, and I don't. I'm fond of the original movie. I'm actually far more. I think that the soundtrack, the main theme for the original Jurassic Park is arguably one of the best pieces of music on any movie ever. Yep. In fact, I don't know if, like, whenever I go to Universal Studios, I'll go ride the Jurassic Park ride, and it's not like it's really that great a ride, but just the feeling of being in that boat, and then they start playing the John Williams theme as the doors open. Yeah, like, that is an amazing feeling. But I didn't see Jurassic World. I didn't have anything against it, just didn't get around to seeing it. And but I watched the trailer was in front of Avengers, and I was kind of confused because I was like, I don't know what they're going for. Like, cause like there's parts of it there's like, this is an action movie. And then it's like, oh, this is a conspiracy movie. And then, yeah, there are, like, horror elements, too. Like, there's a lot of, like, weird vibes going on in the movie. And then you have weird-ass Jeff Goldblum. like, these creatures have been here before. And if we aren't careful, they will be here after us. Like it's pretty bizarre. But
Hey,
I'm not saying it looks bad.
Just because look, I get it. Jeff Goldblum, he's a sexy dude. You're threatened by him. If that's what you're gonna take away from the trailer, and you're not interested because you're threatened by Mr. Goldblum, I won't hold that against you, dude.
I was more sexually threatened by him during Thor Ragnarok than I am in whatever the fuck. It's weird, you know. Honestly, like he looked weird in Thor Ragnarok, but in this movie, he looks really fucking over the top bizarre. I don't know what's going on. Like,
I mean, it's Goldblum. He's a character.
You're so used to like the original version of him, like the Ian Malcolm. Like people forget about Lost World, but from the original Jurassic Park, you're so used to in that weird, sexy broken leg pose. Like I don't know. Did you see the Funko Pop that they put out of that, where it's like it looks like he's trying to fuck you, but it's supposed to be him with his broken leg?
I did not see the Funko Pop, but
Google,
no joke. I'm not making this up. I just earlier today photoshopped a picture of my face onto that Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park.
If you can,
with his shirt open.
Yeah, if you can right now, Google Funko Pop Ian Malcolm. And it's pretty spectacular because like if you didn't know what it was from, you'd swear it's just like, oh, this is a random Jeff Goldblum pop where he's gonna fuck me. I don't know what's up with that. But no, I don't have anything against the trailer. I don't know that it looks bad or good. I was just struck by how many different feelings I was getting from the trailer, and they did have like one moment that
I'm looking at it. That's
it's pretty uncomfortably sexy, isn't it?
Is it weird that I'm aroused by this?
No, I mean I think it's the intended outcome.
It's just Jurassic Park, Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Excuse me. I think I meant to say it's the intended Malcolm. But yeah, I don't know. I might, I have Movie Pass now, so I'll probably see Jurassic Park when it comes out.
Great timing. How'd you like getting bent over with their new policies this weekend?
Oh, they have new policies? I didn't hear about it.
Oh yeah, they just rolled them out. It's fucking wonderful. How long have you had Movie Pass?
2 months.
Okay, I got it for Christmas. I got it. It was gifted to me, and then I love MoviePass, as a lot of people who've signed up in the last year or so love it. And just in time for Infinity Wars, they rolled out some new plans, some new restrictions. You can no longer see the same movie twice.
Oh, really?
That's gone. Yeah, that's gone as of this weekend.
Oh,
and here's the best part. No longer can you do daily movies. So you could have seen a movie every day of the month previously.
Yeah.
Now, for a month.
I mean, it's still worth it. And to be honest with you, I wanted to like embark on this new, path where I'm really sounding dramatic here.
You're about to come out of the closet, dude?
I'm about to. Where have you been? No, I was hoping to go see a lot more movies, but in the 2 months, like last month, there was a couple movies I wanted to go see. I can't think of it right now. It's Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams.
Good
I wanted
movie.
to see that. Didn't get around to seeing it. And there was a couple of other movies. And I did get to see Black Panther the month before, but I haven't used it the way I was hoping to use it. So, I mean, honestly, it's not going to affect things too much. Although I wanted to see Avengers again because, I mean, we can get into that. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw it a couple days ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to post any spoilers or anything on here, but I wanted to see it again just because it's such a bizarre film that I was like, I think I liked it. I don't know. I don't think I liked it. I don't know.
Have you seen what that Did you see what that movie made, dude? We're recording. It's Wednesday, so we're what 5 days out from when that movie was released.
It might be at 1 billion worldwide right now.
Not quite, but it broke 800 million.
Well, that was I thought that was opening weekend. It broke 800 million.
No, that's as of today. Because opening weekend domestically made 250, and then I don't know what it was worldwide by Sunday, but no, as of today, it just came out. It broke 800. It's the quickest to do that ever. So
yeah,
pretty insane.
Well, I'll tell you this: like normally, if you go on a Tuesday night, there weren't any convenient showings of this film, so I went last night at 8:30, and it's a 2.5 hour film plus trailers and everything else, so it's basically like a 3 hour and 15-minute film. And so going at 8:30, man, I wasn't getting home till like 11:30 at night, and so I figured, well, it's a Tuesday night. It's at 8:30. You know, school's in session. Nobody's going to be at the theater. No, the theater was fucking packed. Really? Yeah. And I mean, you know, I don't think anybody's going to see, I don't know what's in theaters, The Handmaid's Tale or, that shitty looking Amy Schumer film. Like nobody's going on a Tuesday night to see that shit. You know,
what the fuck is that? Amy Schumer film?
Oh yeah, she's got a movie out. It's bombing horribly. It's called I Feel Pretty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the movie about how she's fat. Like that's basically.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
I know the name, but isn't A Quiet Place is still doing pretty well? I think I haven't seen it, but I've heard
it's
really
still
good things about it.
I've heard good things about it, but it's still like an indie horror film. I don't know how well it's doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I shouldn't even say that because a lot of indie horror films these days do like mega bucks. And but yeah, no, I saw Avengers and I was just like, huh?
Did you at least like it more than The Last Jedi? Because I know your thoughts on that. I'm sure you aired them out here.
Yeah. I didn't. It wasn't like Last Jedi where I was like minute one. I'm like, this is horse shit. What the fuck am I watching?
Have you seen Last Jedi again since then?
No, I'm not interested.
No.
But Last Jedi really did kill all interest I have in Star Wars. There's still Rebels, which I didn't see the last season of Star Wars Rebels, but really, like Rogue One made me think about whether or not I'm really a Star Wars fan. And but I was like, you know, whatever. And I was hopeful for Last Jedi, even though like I don't like the director, but yeah, I think Last Jedi just basically convinced me like, oh, you don't give a shit about any of this. Like, it broke me.
So you're not even contemplating Solo.
Well, you know, that's the thing. That's the thing that MoviePass changes is like, I might see it. The trailers, I keep watching so the new trailer was in front of, cause I hadn't seen the new trailer. I'm very much a one trailer person. And I hadn't seen the new trailer, but then it was in front of Avengers, so I watched it and I was like, it looks like an interesting movie. It just, you know what it looks like? It looks like a very well done fan film about Han Solo. Like if you told me like this movie was done by some college kids who had a lot of money and it was about a teenage Han Solo, I'd be like, oh, okay. You know, but I don't know. It just, I'll probably see it, and I'm trying not to be negative, but there's nothing about it that says to me like this is going to be a good thing.
Not even that cute chick from Game of Thrones.
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
I don't either. I at least damn sure know her.
Well, what is that?
Whatever. Whatever. Not important.
You don't know her name. Who's the cute chick from Game of Thrones?
I want to say it's Emily something. Emile. I could be. I'm not sure.
Way to objectify women. Fucking dames don't even have names. No, I'll probably see that one. But I am sad to hear that. I didn't know that there was any new rules. I mean, it doesn't really change things, but like I said, I was hoping to see Avengers twice, so that I could kind of, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed parts of it, but it's not it's such a weird movie because it's not really a story. You know, I
Look
realized.
at that. I was close. Amelia Clark. Amelia Clark. I fell right in the middle there.
Oh, that's the chick from Terminator Genesis. Yeah. Yeah, she's
Oh,
hot.
there you go. Oh man, was that a shit movie? Oh.
Hey, I love Terminator Genesis. That movie is amazing.
I fell asleep twice in the theater.
How that movie is so amazing. That's my favorite Terminator movie by far.
You're an idiot.
No, it is. It's the best one because it just embraces the fact that it doesn't make any fucking sense. My favorite part of that movie is like this elaborate plan that the Terminator comes up with to destroy Skynet at the end of the movie, and he's like, "I've been working in the building for 2 years, and I have all the plans." And I was like, if you've been working and building it for 2 years, why the fuck didn't you just put the bombs in it while you were working, dipshit? Like, what the movie doesn't make any fucking sense. And then the whole thing about John Connor's a fucking Terminator, I was just like, oh, I'm in. You know, and then I'm a fucking weirdo, so like I'm having like bizarre fantasies about your boy Kyle like banging Sarah Connor like in the time stream and shit like that. Like seriously, like they're like, take off
Clearly
your clothes.
you've set the bar hard. You've set the bar really high for that franchise. Clearly.
Hey, look, bad plots and pussy is about all I need from a movie. But no.
Why aren't you a bigger horror fan? That's all horror movies are.
That's actually a fair point. I don't know. I when I was a kid, I was scared of a lot of shit, and as an adult, like I don't like being frightened. So my experience with horror films is generally either they're stupid or they actually are scary, and neither one really appeals to me. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I can't remember the last time I was scared of a horror film I've seen, but I don't see that many. I think the last one I saw was like Halloween H2O.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And the only reason that I saw that one was because I really wanted to see Jamie Lee Curtis die. I don't even think she died. I think it was the next one she died in.
Well, none of that matters now because they're doing. Yeah, they're rebooting Halloween, and she's back, and they've basically said everything after 2, forget about it. Yeah, not canon anymore.
Well, to me, that's just another opportunity to kill Jamie Lee Curtis.
You really hate that bitch, don't you?
I don't know what it is. She just bothers the fuck out of me.
I can't say I'm a huge fan myself, but my wife swears up and down she's a hermaphrodite.
Oh well, that's been a rumor since her whole life, basically.
Oh, so that's a thing. She's not just making that up.
No, your wife's not insane.
Well, that's debatable.
Well, all right. Well, I guess she doesn't listen to podcasts. No, that's been a rumor forever. Like I think hermaphrodite. And I think there was also a rumor that she had a tail or something when she was born. But
a tail.
She's
what is this, Avatar?
Well, people are occasionally born with tails, right?
Like actually something else.
Not like a monkey, but like like a tail, like a little nubbin on the back. That your tailbone was from back when we were monkeys. Like we evolved out of it.
So it's like a back dick.
I mean, I guess. That's not. I don't know what what you've seen monkeys do at the zoo, but. No. So Jamie Lee Curtis, rumor had been that she was a hermaphrodite, which is weird because for 2 reasons. One, she's Tony Curtis's daughter, who was always very like ambiguously gay, like very predatory sexual / ambiguously gay. And then also she herself was treated like a sex symbol because I guess she has big tits. Like if you ever saw, what was that James Cameron movie, True Lies? I don't
Never
know.
saw it.
You never saw True Lies? True Lies is actually a really, really entertaining film. But there's a scene in it where she's asked to, I want to say strip, but not really. It's more like she's asked to be an exotic dancer. And so she does like this like sexy dance, and you're supposed to be aroused, but it's like, ugh, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. What, you know, she kind of props her tits up, and it's like, doesn't help. Doesn't help. I don't know. She's a very weird person. Not. I mean, I don't know about her real life, but the way people react to her. But yeah, she's always been rumored to be a hermaphrodite. I assume it's not true.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never put much thought into it. She just doesn't. I'm with you, for the record. She doesn't do it for me.
Are you going to tell your wife,
or in any other way?
Are you going to tell your wife that you found out that she's not crazy?
Sure. I'll bring it up tonight. See what she says. I'll say, you know, she maybe doesn't have a dick per se, but she may have a back dick, so we can explore that option. See what she thinks of that theory.
You know, whatever happens between a man and his wife is your damn business. But y'all have a kid too, which
we do.
I bring up specifically because so the Boy Scouts have been going through some weird shit lately. Some little girl, I don't remember where, decided that she wanted to be a Boy Scout, that she didn't want to be a Girl Scout because the Boy Scouts were cooler. I assume she's just a little tomboy, you know, which is fine. And the Boy Scouts gave in, and now they're letting girls in. So because they're letting girls in, now they've decided, I guess we should just get rid of the Boy Scouts name, and now they're going to be called the Scouts BSA.
Oh boy. And what's BSA stand for?
Boy Scouts of America. That's their. It's not really an acronym because it's not a word, but that's always been their initials, Boy Scouts of America. But the thing that bothers me, like I don't know if you remember, but you know, a few years back, there's all kinds of hubbub because they were like, we can't let gay people be Boy Scout, you know, whatever, leaders or managers. I don't know what the fuck. I was a Boy Scout.
It's the Boy Scout leaders. They had problems with. I don't remember. Was it? Yeah, it was gay. It was gays they were targeting.
Yeah, they were.
I remember
they were
that
afraid
being a thing.
You couldn't be openly gay and be a Boy Scout leader, which I always thought was kind of stupid. Because I'm like, I mean, what the fuck do you think? A, there probably already plenty of gay Boy Scout leaders. B, what the fuck do you think they're teaching your kid? Like kids, this is how you suck a dick with two hands. Like, you know, it's not that big a deal. But
what do you mean that's not a big deal?
I'm saying they don't do that. I assume. I mean, I was a Boy Scout. I don't remember that lesson.
The way you said it was, well, I mean, if they're teaching how to suck dick with two hands, it's not that big a deal. I literally had somebody say when I was working today, she's 17, maybe 18, doesn't really matter. And I was like, I mean,
depends on the state.
It kind of matters. Depends on who's around.
Depends on the state. In Alabama, doesn't matter. I think in Louisiana it's legal after 17. I think.
With like,
I don't know,
awkward parental consent or something.
No.
How's that conversation go? Hey, I know your daughter's a little young, but is this all right? Can I put this in that school?
In my experience, they just show up for dinner. People don't usually talk about it. I don't know. I'll look at teenage girls, but I would never consider touching one. Like it, I don't know. There's a weird the primate part of my brain is aroused by teenage girls, but the rest of me is like, no, that's a child. like she doesn't look like a child, but you know. And I mean, I'm glad. I mean, I wish both parts of me responded that way, because I do feel kind of fucked up when, you know, sometimes you'll just be driving along and you'll say, oh, there's tits, and you're like, oh, look what it's attached to. No, that's a crime.
She's like 14.
Sometimes.
So what you're saying is you're not gonna go full Jimmy Page at any point?
Why did Jimmy Page fuck a 14-year-old?
Dude, I just found out apparently that was like well documented back in the 70s and 80s. Like Jimmy Page full blown had like relationships with 14-year-old girls. This sucks to me.
He's still
that dude
alive.
was like my fucking guitar hero growing up, and now I'm just like, oh, that fucking weirdo.
He's still alive.
Yeah, he is.
That's
and hopefully
weird.
not still banging 14-year-olds.
I don't think 14-year-olds know who Jimmy Page is anymore.
Fair point.
I remember distinctly when Puff Daddy covered Kashmir for that Godzilla.
For Godzilla?
Yeah. I remember thinking like, oh God, there's going to be a bunch of fucking teenage girls right now who think that Kashmir, whenever it plays, they'll be like, oh, that's that Puff Daddy song. But
No, that song was terrible. Never stuck. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it helped that the movie bombed horribly.
So how fucking confused are kids nowadays when, I mean, look, we got to have some fucking rules, right? Like, we got to have some goddamn societal rules. Like, please just let the Boy Scouts be boys and the Girl Scouts be girls. I mean, really?
Well, that's, I mean, I agree, but the thing that irks me about it, and like, that's why I brought up your son, is like, right now, I think more than ever, we need like Boy Scout organization or something similar. Because there's a lot of boys right now who are growing up who, A, don't have the outlets for their... I mean, your son's pretty little, but he's maybe a year or two away from going full feral. You know, not Will Ferrell, but like an animal, which is what little boys are. They're little beasts, you know, they're little wolves. And, you know, the Boy Scouts, they teach you like useful shit, you know, and some of it's like cool shit like environmentalism. So, you know, they're not littering and stuff like that. And, you know, or helping old people across the street. But it's also like how to survive in the woods, how to make shit, you know, and that's lost really now and has been for a while. And so to see like these organizations kind of, I don't know, fall apart. And I mean, I don't know what lessons they're going to be teaching now that girls are involved, and it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same thing. And I really, you know, I mean, I don't know what the solution is for like people to start their own local organizations to teach boys how to do woodworking and work on cars and shit. You know, that would be a good thing, but that's the part that bothers me. Like, look, the thing about the little girl who's a tomboy who just wants to belong, I get it. I mean, I think that her parents should have been like, look, you don't get everything your way, kid. Sorry. Like, if you want to be a Girl Scout, well, you take you to the Girl Scouts, but that's the bottom line. Like, sometimes the answer is no.
Yeah. And yeah, you're right. And you know what? This is a frustrating fucking thing. And quite frankly, like, I was scared to death of becoming a parent for this very reason, because these things, they aggravate me quick. Kids need to have boundaries. It's important to know that you can't always have every fucking thing you want. Is this only a problem with this country, or is this like a worldwide thing? Like, where do we fall in sort of the pantheon of like the rest of the world when it comes to absolutely just being pussy, pushover, fucking no rules for anybody? Like, whoever wants to do whatever, just fucking do it. Like, it's your right as an American in 2018. Like, you want to be this, fucking go be this. Don't let anybody tell you no. Is this just a fucking America thing?
No, we're better than Europe and Canada. We're way worse than places like, you know, Russia and China. At least in terms of like, not obviously we're a better country than those countries, but like in terms of, I don't know, ambiguity and where you stand as a man or a woman. Yeah, no, it's, you know, it's growing, but there's also a growing resentment towards shit like that.
There is. Which that is the nice thing, I guess, in 2018 as opposed to maybe 10 years ago, is that if you sort of look at all of this like a pendulum, it is sort of swinging back the other way, and that's kind of refreshing to see. My kid, my boy's a year and a half old, and I fucking dread when he starts actually hitting school and dealing with these schools and the way that they pussify these kids. I do take some solace in knowing that things are going back the other way a little bit, and maybe by the time my son is in fucking elementary school, they can go out and play fucking dodgeball at recess, and somebody's not going to tell them not to violently throw a ball at somebody else.
The problem is that a lot of the shit that's the people that are doing this sort of shit have really gotten involved in academia. But it also depends on, it's not like every school does this kind of shit, but I'm trying to think. I heard a story this morning about some retarded shit that a school did to oh, yeah, I don't remember where I heard it, but so there was a story recently about a little girl who, I think she was like a kindergartner or something like that, maybe like a first grader, and she came home sad, and her mom's like, "What's wrong, baby?" And she said, "The school said that I can't have a best friend."
Jesus, I don't want to fucking hear this.
Yeah, so the woman like calls the principal and is like, "What the fuck is your teacher doing to my kid? Like, my kid came home sad because she was told she's not allowed to have a best friend." And the school said, "Well, we actively discourage children from declaring other children like to be their best friends because it we're trying to promote inclusivity, and this does the opposite." So basically the idea is that, you know, if little Sarah has a best friend, let's just say Bobby, but little Juniper doesn't have a best friend, Juniper will be really sad because Bobby and Sarah are best friends and Juniper doesn't have a best friend. Which, look, I was the kid at school that, you know, was only invited to birthday parties because the parents made the kid like give everyone in their class an invitation. So I get it, but at the same time, fucking get it. Like, why are you telling the kid that she can't have a best friend? Like, and literally like upsetting the child and really fucking with her brain. Yeah. So
I mean, that's an important lesson to teach little Juniper, to go beat the shit out of Bobby. And look, go fucking take your place as Sarah's best friend, right? Isn't that?
I'm really interested to find out how you got your wife. What? Oh, no. But yeah, no, these schools, like, it's not every school, but a lot of them are doing the shit. And then I don't know if you heard the story, and this isn't a school thing, but did you hear the story about the little white girl who was going to prom and chose a Chinese dress?
No, I didn't hear this.
All right, so this girl posts a picture of herself for, I guess, the day before prom, and she got a dress that's like Chinese inspired. The kind of shit like you've only been to Epcot once. So
did you know there's a ride in that ball?
I did. I heard your spiel. Yes, there is in the geodesic dome. There is an attraction.
The Jesus Dome, huh? That's what you call it.
Geodesic. I can't believe you really thought that.
Is that Jesus's rap name? Geodesic?
No. Why would you assume that there was nothing inside something that big, that they would just build a giant, like, what did you think it was?
I mean, I assumed it was something. I mean, I figured maybe there's some sort of like
food court
window. Maybe you could go stick your head up in there and there was some sort of magic bullshit going on up there. Kind of like if you've ever been on a blimp, you can like stick your head up inside this bubble window and see up inside the blimp. I just assumed it was something cool like that. Some sort of crazy fucking optical illusion. Maybe you stuck your head up there and you'd look up mini skirt or something, but I didn't know there was a goddamn ride up there.
A lot to unpack there. I'll move past it. So if you go to the back of Epcot into the China Pavilion, you can actually buy Asian dresses in China and Japan. But so So the girl chose a Chinese dress, and some dude on Twitter basically called her out and posted like her picture and said, "My culture is not your goddamn prom dress," and basically accused her of cultural appropriation. And this girl got like death threats and shit. Like all kinds of harassment online just for posting a picture from her fucking, her prom. So yeah, so the girl got like all kinds of harassment online and all kinds of shit, and they just, really, like Twitter actually highlighted it as a something to take notice of, and the girl got even more harassment. It's pretty insane, but that's kind of, it doesn't happen every day, that sort of thing, but that's kind of the shit that these kids are dealing with these days. Is like, just, you're not allowed to do anything, you're not allowed to be a person, you're not allowed to say anything.
Yeah, it sucks, and part of it is our school system needs to stop producing a bunch of little pussy kids. A lot of that's also parenting, just doing parenting properly. But like, I don't know, dude. I don't know the answer to kids dealing with social media in school. Like, I didn't deal with that. You didn't deal with that. We didn't have that growing up. I don't know. Social media is a fucking poison if used improperly, which it mostly is.
Honestly, dude, it's an addiction. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like, so I bring my phone with me, like when I go on a cruise, which I just came back from one. And normally, like, so it goes into airplane mode, so you can't get calls or text messages. And normally, like, what I would do is just use it to listen to music, whatever. And I did. I used it to listen to music, used it to read books. But I have a little game on my phone. I spent a lot of time playing that game. And then when I had access to Wi-Fi, instead of leaving it alone, I checked in, like, looked on Facebook and shit like that. And I was kind of disappointed in myself, normally speaking, like, part of the reason to go on a cruise is to get away from that shit. And,
yeah.
But,
yeah, it's an addiction for sure, and everybody handles it differently. I've tried to make conscious efforts to change my habits with social media. But that said, like, even if you're addicted, it doesn't mean that you have to be a fucking douchebag when you use it. Like, the social media bullying shit. That's what I'm getting at, I guess, is people aren't going to stop being pussies behind their keyboard or on their phone when they start bullying other people. Like, that shit's not going to stop. So I don't know how to curb, because you can't tell your kid, like, no, you're not allowed to be on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. But
you can.
I don't know how to fucking police that. You can't police it.
You can. There's apps. You can set their phone so that they can't download apps. You can set your computer so it, like parental control so they can't get on certain websites, stuff like that. But yeah. At the end of the day, what you really have to do is just like instill a sense of groundedness in your kid, and just like reinforce the idea that, like, if people are harassing you online, turn off the computer.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and, because I often see, like, whenever you see somebody kill themselves after like some like harassment online, I'm like, why didn't you just put the fucking phone down?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just delete
Well,
your
it's tough. It's a catch-22, because really by nature, social media accounts by and large are sort of a narcissistic thing in general. And if you're engaging in it, I'm not saying everybody, I'm not gonna make that generalization, but most people that are on social media, it's sort of a narcissistic thing, and it's kind of hard. Like, if you're on there, you kind of care what people think about you, and it's kind of tough to not look at comments or things like that. So,
well, we are podcasters, so obviously we do care what people think. So
yeah. Well, yes and no. Yes and no.
You don't do it for the fame, for the glory, for the naked pictures of Amelia Clark.
Send nudes. No, don't send nudes.
Send pictures of Jamie Lee Curtis's dick.
Her back dick. I don't want to see her actual dick, just her back dick.
Just her back dick. Okay.
You better title this episode "Back Dick." Just back dick.
I will.
Okay.
So we're at about 45 minutes, a little over that. Yeah, was there anything you really wanted to talk about?
Not really. I was interested. I pulled up when you hit me up tonight. I pulled up Metal Hand of God's Twitter account because I follow you guys. I don't know what prompted me to pull it up. I guess I just wanted to make sure I was following you for some reason. Do you know who the band the Butcher Babies are?
I don't, but I'm not the. Is this a metal band?
It is.
Okay,
It is.
this is not an Adam question. This is do we follow them? Is that why you're asking?
No, they follow you. Interestingly enough.
Really? Okay.
Which is why I brought it up, because I pulled it, and then when you pull up an account on Twitter, it'll say like, oh, so and so also follows this account.
Right.
I follow Butcher Babies, and it was like, oh, Butcher Babies follows Metal Hand of God. I was like, what? Does Adam fucking know the Butcher Babies? Do yourself a favor, and just Google the Butcher Babies sometime.
Okay, well, tell me why. So what's up with the Butcher Babies?
You'll see what all the hoopla is about. Legitimately, they're a cool metal band. I like Butcher Babies. If you take away their image, like I do truthfully appreciate their music. Like I'm a fan. But Butcher Babies put themselves on the map years ago with a gimmick, and it was pretty much straight up two hot chicks on vocals who were not afraid to show a little skin. They perform topless all the time, and they just put tape over their nipples. Okay. I mean, like, they're legitimately good-looking chicks.
This is like that Russian band that like makes out on stage and shit like that from like 10 years ago.
I know nothing of this. I don't know what you're talking about.
You would if you'd remember this, but this is like 12, 15 years ago. I can't think of their names, but they had like a big pop song, but that was their thing. They were like this Russian, like these two Russian chicks that would like get semi-naked and start making out during their sets.
Interesting. Interesting move. No.
They had one hit song. Well, Butcher Babies. I'll have to check that out. I don't know them. I mean, if they're hot and topless, I'm happy to check them out.
They kick ass. I like their music. In fact, I'm going to see them a week from Monday. They're playing here in Chicago. They're playing with another band I like called Nonpoint. Okay. So I'm going to that show. I'm excited about it. It was just odd when I pulled up your guys' Twitter and it was like, oh yeah, Butcher Babies follows them.
Are you a Baby Metal fan?
I like Baby Metal, yeah, from Japan. They're cool.
I just thought that's like the one metal band that's, I guess, somewhat trendy that I follow.
That's the one, huh?
Yeah, I have one of their songs on my iPod every once in a while. It'll come up. I don't know what they're saying, but that sounds cool. But
yeah, no, they're cool. But other than that, I got nothing else. I appreciate you bringing up Grim Grinning Hosts.
Well, yeah. So
if anybody's listening and likes theme park talk and talk about me being a drunken buffoon and just shenanigans in general, the Grim Grinning Host podcast, it's a fun little show. We discuss a lot of Disney and Universal, and I love fucking roller coasters, so I talk a lot of roller coaster shit on there.
So how often is the show coming out?
We are going to be just a bi-weekly thing, so we'll be dropping 2 episodes a month.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we released the 3 just the other day to sort of restart the feed. I think back when you were on, we recorded about 28-ish episodes.
I mean, I don't think I was on the last 3, but
yeah. Well, we didn't do much without you, so we had a decent run there. We originally were a weekly thing at first, and then it got really sporadic, which ultimately was the death of us. But now we're sort of back and refocused and have some new fun ideas, and it's fun. It's fun. So we're looking forward to sticking this one out and doing sort of a bi-weekly thing. So
I don't know if y'all discussed it. I brought it up to Hunter, where about y'all being on the Metal Hand of Pod network. But we actually the guys from Everybody's Got One, that's Craig Lucas and Nick Branch, are going to at least partially be on the network as well.
Partially. How does one partially be on the network?
Well, so so Everybody's Got One is technically a DisAfterDark network, or the After Dark network. Excuse me. It's their baby, but they're also gonna partially be on us too. So I mean, the episodes will appear basically on both networks.
Nice.
So, and we're working. I'm waiting to get the artwork back from that, but Travis has been pretty busy lately. He's got if anybody loves the Middle Hand of God artwork, cover art. He also did Grim Grinning Hosts artwork. Travis Hemel has a book that's supposed to come out. They're still trying to figure out when the Kickstarter is going to go up, but it's for a book called Project Lucha, which is kind of a satirical superhero comic about a luchador who fights crime.
I love it already.
Yeah, so it was just announced. It's actually with a legitimate comic book label called Action Labs. So, I'll definitely be posting on the MHOG stuff, and I'm probably, I'm even though I'm not part of Grim Grinning Hosts, I am the admin on the Facebook page. But I never understood why none of y'all ever posted on there, but so I'll post it on there too.
None of us are what you would call savvy with social media. That's never
but you
quite
can
our
post
thing.
You can post the episode or something like that, or if In the Loop, which you're also on a show called In the Loop.
Yes, that is the more roller coaster heavy nerdy podcast I'm involved with. Many are much more roller coaster than Universal and Disney. But look, man, the Grim Grinning Host Facebook page, I already told you, just because you've been you've been put back to Dick Brother number 2, you're still a part of the goddamn show. You're welcome to not only come on the podcast proper, but let's fucking do some of them live videos that you like to do on the Facebook page. I'm down. I'm getting in on that.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that.
Make that a thing. And next time I'm on here, I'll discuss my my new career path in writing scripts for gay porns. That's a thing.
I was gonna tell you this was certainly your last time, but now I'm
No. I wasn't gonna. No, I'm not gonna go quietly. I'm gonna leave that cliffhanger. So you got to bring me back. My main guy, Stucazo. You know what Stucazo means?
I don't even know what you're talking about at the moment. Like I'm very lost.
It's Italian slang for cocksucker. So my main guy, that's his name, Stucazo. He stars in we got a franchise lined up already called Room for Cream. And I've been writing the storylines for all those. So,
all right. This has been the Metal Hand of God. I've been Adam.
I've been Kenny. You could. I don't know why you'd want to, but if you want to hit me up on Twitter, I'm In the Loop Kenny.
Oh yeah. I always forget to do that. Yeah, go check out at In the Loop Kenny. And you already have my social media. You don't need to know about me, but go check out Grim Grinning Hosts. They have 3 episodes up. If by chance you're one of the few people who listens to both MHOG and Grim Grinning Hosts, or did in the past, it's a new feed, so you actually have to go back and resubscribe.
Yeah.
And of course you should be subscribed to the Metal Hand of God as well. So. Well, thank you, Kenny.
You should be.
And
thank you, Adam.
Keep it metal.
Scream in your ear because I know you like it. What's up, guys? This is Wayne.
And I'm Adam. And we may be back, or this may be in addition to the last episode.
Maybe in addition to another part. That's why I did it like that. So welcome to the MHOG podcast, or you've been listening to the MHOG podcast, and this is a continuation of it. So, what's up, dude?
So I wanted to talk about 2 things.
2.
And the first one, I've always did my best to, or I think we all do, try to make sure that this show doesn't feel like a local podcast.
Yes, we do that.
I mean, no offense to anyone locally who does that, wants to be like, but, I mean, we're not like a huge show. We don't have thousands of listeners or anything like that, but, but we try. And we do have listeners in other countries, not just England, believe it or not. I think we have like people in Dubai and Africa and shit, which is, we never hear from them, but but we see they hit.
These people constantly listen to the show too. It's like every time I go look at the numbers and I see where the downloads are from, and every episode, at least 2 or 3 are from those countries, and I'm just like, wow, this is really cool.
Right. But for once, we're going to talk about a local story. Not for once. We do occasionally do it. But so there's this guy, and he's kind of notorious if you're from like the not New Orleans proper, but
Metairie area, I guess.
Yeah, like the suburbs.
Yeah.
His name's Big Lee. And so the thing about Big Lee is that he's.
First off, I just want to say I'm sorry I'm laughing. But
I'm not sorry I'm laughing at all. In fact, when we're off the air, I do have to tell you something briefly. But Big Lee's a notorious asshole.
Big dickhead is what he should have been called.
So this isn't the reason he's a notorious asshole, but he is known mainly because he is a psychotic LSU fan. Everything he has is covered in LSU colors and has LSU symbols. His house is the most recognizable house in the greater New Orleans area by a long shot. He's in a main thoroughfare, and you pass his house, and I've often thought about burning his house down myself because it's so obnoxious. But that's not the reason he's an asshole.
Come on, man! It's a beautiful purple and gold house.
Yeah. First of all, purple and yellow.
I know.
No matter, it's occasionally purple and orange. It's never purple and gold. Sorry, LSU fans. That's a fact. Colors are colors. But that's not the reason he's an asshole. That's just one of the reasons he's obnoxious. But he's been accused by many, many women of preying on young girls at night because he has a tow truck, and he... young girls at night. I just remembered the story from Caitlin saying that one of her friends used to work at a car place, and every time they would bring in the vehicles, he would like go up to the desk and rub her hands and like try to hit on her and shit. And it wasn't just her; it was like several of the other girls in the place too. Yeah, well, and there's also a lot of accusations that he basically, like, he would see girls on the side of the road at night and make basically implying that if they wanted to have their car towed, they would have to do things with him. So, and I mean, I'm not going to go too much into that because I only know a few of the stories, but a lot of women have accused him of this. And
just so you guys know, we just laid the ground rules on that this guy was a complete piece of shit.
And I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, I've seen him on the road personally. He acted often like he was above the law. I've seen him yelling at people with a megaphone on the road. That's not legal. He the CB with a loudspeaker.
Yeah.
I've seen him do a bunch of things, and apparently recently, within the last month, he ran some woman off the road, tried to kill her.
Yeah, he tried to run her over.
Mm-hmm. Now, the thing you have to understand about Louisiana is there's a bizarre thing where if you have an LSU bumper sticker or you're an LSU fan, you can get away with a lot of shit. I don't know why it is, but there's a very good chance that the reason that he got away with shit was just... And I know that sounds insane, but there's no other reason why this dude got away with as much shit as he got away with.
I think it's because he was like one of those everybody knows who he is kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like one of those dudes that like, oh yeah, we know Big Lee or whatever the fuck his name is. Yeah, he's all right. That kind of stuff. He's just kind of a little weird.
But
that's probably what it was.
But that's the thing. He's not all right. Like, so.
No, he was a dickhead.
So, and the reason that nobody thinks he's all right is because Big Lee got shot yesterday. He was murdered by his 78-year-old neighbor. And so apparently what happened was Big Lee was washing his car or something like that, or his truck, and the neighbor was backing out of his. I should mention that they had been fighting for 10 years. As you can imagine, if you had to live next to Big Lee's house, I'm sure shit came up. And I doubt this old man could even sell his house if he wanted to, living next to Big Lee. So they had been fighting for 10 years, and so Big Lee apparently sprayed the guy's car while the guy was backing out.
Right. I think this was actually about it started out as a property line a squabble.
Okay, I might be a little confused because part of the problem is like you get so many reports. Right. Early on, and then like 3 days later you get the proper reports. But one way or another, an argument ensued. The thing that I heard was that Big Lee ended up spraying the guy with his hose. And and
then spraying the inside of the old man's vehicle.
That's what I had heard. Like I guess the guy was in his vehicle and Big Lee like sprayed him down inside his car. So the old man, now maybe there was something in between, maybe there was a lot of arguing, but at some point the old man went into his house, got his gun, and shot him in his side. And someone actually said to me, like, he probably did that on purpose so he could watch him die slowly. Which, Wade just laughed. I'm laughing. And you might be thinking, like, you sound like horrible people. And admittedly, it doesn't look good for us. But an interesting thing happened. So I had often talked, whenever Big Lee would come up, like if I would see him or something, I would mention him to somebody and just be like, oh my God, this guy Big Lee. Do you know Big Lee? And they would be like, yeah. And we'd be like, I can't stand that motherfucker. I don't know what the fuck his problem is. And people would be like, yeah. But I always kind of kept it hushed. Like I never went off about like how much I couldn't stand Big Lee. And turns out nobody in the fucking state likes Big Lee. Like,
no, he's a big piece of garbage.
Yeah, like in this era of internal strife in this country, the one thing that can bring us together is everybody thinks Big Lee was a dipshit. And I want you to imagine for a second how huge an asshole you have to be for people who have never spoke to you in person to be glad you are dead.
Yeah, like that's so terrible. Like I feel like shitty for his family because he's such a piece of garbage. Because of course they had nothing to do with him being a piece of trash. But I've seen posts by people that like you thought what we just said was terrible and we laughed about it. I see some posts that really made me laugh. One of our friends of the show and friends in person, I'm not going to say his name, but said, Big Lee died when he died doing what he liked to do best, being an asshole. Thought that was good.
That's nothing compared to some of the things that I've said.
My all-time favorite was, I guess it's not true that Big Lee did not bleed.
Okay, that's pretty even with some of the things that I've said. I'm not going to repeat them on here because I'm thinking about using them for something, but I don't want to. We'll talk about that off the show. That's the thing. Like, everybody hated this motherfucker, and like I do feel bad that I'm laughing that someone died because it's horrible. Like I've said often on the show, I don't wish for anybody to die. Even complete pieces of shit that have done something horrible like mass murder. Like, I'm not happy that they're dead. I'm just happy that the earth is rid of, that somebody can't do more harm to other people.
Right, that he can't go back and do more garbage.
Right.
Damage, not garbage.
Right. But at the same time, it's like, this is fucking hilarious. And people, like, we've talked about, I was actually talking to people about putting on a benefit for bail money for the old man that shot him.
Unfortunately, this poor old man will be going to jail for his life.
But here's the thing, like I wonder, like I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll do things, often like fighting with somebody where, people always say, well, you just acted without thinking. Like, no, anytime I've done something really fucked up, I've always thought, like, not for a long time, but I have a brief second where I say to myself, this is not good. This is going to cause a severe problem in your life. Is it worth it? And when those times have come up, I've said to myself, yep, let's go. And I wonder if this old man was like, you know what? I'm probably going to go to jail for killing this motherfucker, but fuck it. I'm 78. And, you know, I don't know, maybe he was in Vietnam or some shit. I don't know, but maybe it's just nope, bitch, time. Your time is up. And it's, look, I don't feel bad for him at all. I don't feel bad for Big Lee because he was a dickhead, but like you said, like, the dude probably has a family. And that's the part that I'm kind of like, you know, like, that does suck. But I just want to talk about like it's amazing. I'm starting to like Big Lee more in death than I am in life because I am somewhat impressed. like I thought I was an asshole, and clearly,
like how can you like the entire state don't like you?
I'm just like, man, like I think I see my Babe Ruth. like I'm pointing to the stadium and Big Lee's out there like, come on, man.
Yeah, this dude definitely knocked it out of the park, my friend. Definitely knocked it out of the park.
So there was that. I just wanted to, I mean, again, local story, and this makes us look like horrible people, but Big Lee had it coming.
He really did, and I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about very briefly, well, as briefly as we can make it. This is going to be kind of a common sense with Buck Lightning thing.
All right.
So I don't know if have you seen the stories about Kanye West this past week?
Yeah, that he supports Trump and this and that. Now he's got like the Crips after him and all this other bullshit.
Oh, does he? I don't know. I didn't hear about it. I'm not surprised.
Like the Crips actually put a threat out saying that if you come into a concert anywhere, wherever they're at, somewhere in California or whatever, they will find you and beat the piss out of you or kill you. So it's
I'm not surprised.
Pretty bad.
I am not a fan of Kanye West.
No,
I genuinely don't like his music. I think he's a good producer, but as a rapper, I'm always shocked that people say he's a good rapper because he's really not. So I haven't liked him since Hurricane Katrina. Because I remember being an evacuee and, you know, they had that big Hollywood, you know, benefit or whatever.
Yeah,
and
the first thing out of his fucking mouth was
George Bush
doesn't like black people.
Yeah, George Bush doesn't care about black people.
And that's the first time I ever heard of this dude, by the way. You know, like,
Same
I've
here.
never heard of him in my entire life, and then all of a sudden he's up there with Mike Myers saying that kind of shit. And I'm like,
yeah,
who is this guy?
I had heard his name. I didn't know who he was, but I had heard, because he came out right around that year. Or at least he became famous right around that year. And I'd heard his name, but I didn't know who he was. And yeah, and I remember him saying that and standing with a group of people. And, you know, we had just been watching all day, the place we were born essentially devolve into a third world nation.
Right, just fucking destroy. It was terrible. I'm sitting there with my mother, you know, watching her upset because, you know, we were stranded somewhere else and she's crying and we don't know if our houses are gone and this asshole's up there saying that kind of shit. And I'm going, really? Do we have to do this?
Right.
We just, you know,
because
be one people.
That was the thing. Like, there was nothing racial about Hurricane Katrina, and anyone who tells you different is either stupid or lying. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you're listening to this, and I know you personally. If you think that, you're stupid or you're lying. People were, and I don't want to get too much into this, but people were offered the ability to evacuate. A lot of them did not leave. And by the way, it wasn't just black people. My father stayed.
Right, and hell, one of my best friends, Rusty, he stayed with his family, and they wrote it out in fucking Oregon.
And there were people who were left behind, and most of them were people in hospitals because they didn't have a way to evacuate them, which we should, you know, but it wasn't racial, and it wasn't like George Bush was sitting around. Like, the idea that George Bush was sitting around, like, you know, this rich white guy from Connecticut was thinking, like, oh, you know what looked good for my presidency? If I let, like, 500 black people drown in a major American city. Like, you know, there's a lot of blame to go around. But anyway, Kanye was just running. And look,
I think a lot of blame would start with our black mayor at the time.
The mayor and the governor. who were not coordinating. The mayor was in Houston, as we found out later, and then went on anyway, we're getting a little deep into this, but
unfortunately, I got to make this fast.
Yeah, and but I haven't liked Kanye since, and Kanye says and does a lot of dumb shit. There's a Taylor Swift thing that we won't get into. He just kind of acts impulsively, and he's not a bright dude. I don't think he's stupid, but I think he's a normal dude who gets ideas in his head, and because he's narcissistic and famous, just runs with it.
Yeah, he just says, fuck it, I'm going to here it goes.
And for the most part, he's been successful as a result of it. So recently, he's been friends with Donald Trump for a while now. He had talked to Donald Trump during the campaign a couple years ago, and he took shit for that. Well, apparently, he met with a couple of noted conservatives, Candace Owens, who's a black female conservative, and a guy named Charlie Kirk, who runs Turning Point USA, and I think she works with him. And he's made a bunch of public statements, some of which essentially, I wish I had a list, but basically saying black people are kind of caught up in this is the wrong way to put it, but I think he put it similarly. Basically, they're still stuck on the plantation. They've been caught up by Democrats for about. He had his time off. Black people became Democrats in the 1930s during the New Deal, not during the Civil Rights Movement like a lot of people think.
Basically, I think I've heard he said that slavery was a choice.
He did say that later. That wasn't the first thing he got in trouble. And what he said, yeah, if you've been a slave for 400 years, clearly that was a choice. That was fucking dumb. I don't know. I think, like I said, he's not a bright person. He just kind of goes through whatever he thinks. And
he has diarrhea of the mouth.
Yeah, well, I think he's also working through his thoughts. But basically, he came out and said a few conservatives. He's like, I like Donald Trump. I don't think you have to vote Democrat just because you're black. And the fact that black people assume you have to vote Democrat just because you're black is a form of slavery. And black people don't like it when you say shit like that. And he has been.
I've said on the show that I believe that anybody that's stuck on using government health, and if you've been on government welfare and whatnot for over 10 years, I mean, you're a slave to the system, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of it's a bad way to put it, but it's kind of a don't feed the bear situation.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that all black people are on welfare or anything like that, but there is a large portion of the black community that is. And the vast majority of blacks in this country, if they vote at all, always vote Democrat. And it's not been to their benefit for the most part. And I'm not saying that the Republicans are any great sheiks either. There's a lot of shitty Republicans that have done a lot of shitty things for a lot of people, including poor people, including black people. Donald Trump's not one of them, as it turns out. Black people are doing much better right now. But he's getting trashed. And it's funny because the people that are trashing him are basically proving his point. My thing is racism and sexism don't really exist for the most part in this country anymore. We think they do. And I'm not saying that they don't exist at all, or that we don't say, I say sexist and racist things all the time, but for the most part, it's actually more ideological. You go follow any black conservative, and you will see both white people, black people, and anybody else from the far left, and sometimes even the middle left, mostly the far left. They will call them coon, nigger, Uncle Tom. It is open season on any black conservative. Yeah. It is okay. I remember I was a big supporter of Herman Cain in 2011 before he dropped out of the race for allegations. I remember seeing Charlie Murphy in concert. And Charlie Murphy had this whole bit about, this nigga talking about 555 deal. I found out that motherfucker thought it was a pizza deal. And I remember thinking, okay, joke's kind of funny, but did you make those jokes when Barack Obama was running, or were you first black president, future black president, or whatever? Anything he says goes. And it wasn't about race. It's about, one person's a Republican, one person's a Democrat. And you see that shit all the time. And, I don't think Kanye is conservative, by any standards. I think he's just working through some shit and seeing the backlash. And what I'm interested in is seeing what happens next, because he could do one of two things. He could just denounce everybody and just say, you know what, I was wrong and I'm sorry and mea culpa and all that just to save his face. Or if he has balls, he could just be like, you know what, fuck you. I'm my own man. I have my own money. You're not going to tell me who I'm going to be. You know, and I've seen a lot of black people turning on him, and it's fucking amazing. And it's not fucking amazing. It's sad. You know, I mean, he actually even put out like a song where him and T-Pain, or no, T.I. and him were going back and forth. It's called like Kanye versus the People or something like that. And where T.I. represents like what black people are saying, like, you know, like you say these things and you're hurting your community, and he's like, I'm just saying these things because I'm trying to think for myself. And people keep saying, I'm not going to call the person out because he might not have been talking about this, but I saw him talking about it for a few days. A friend of ours, mostly mine, made a comment about, you know, one of his friends said something really something real, like you can't be a free thinker if you're brainwashed. Something like that. And I told him, I was like, that didn't make any fucking sense. And it kind of got into a little thing, and I sort of let it go. But I was like, but I knew he was talking about Kanye, because I'm like, that's what black people are saying. Oh, he's brainwashed. Oh, he's you know, he got in with all these conservative people are brainwashing him. I'm like, no, motherfucker. Like, he's thinking for himself. He might be wrong. The shit that he said about slavery was fucking stupid. like there are people making excuses, like saying like, oh, well, it's sort of like a prison mentality. Like at some point in black culture, after 200 years of slavery or whatever it was, because I don't know how long slavery existed. I'm not going to pretend I do. But at some point, like, black people were just on the plantation, just didn't realize that they had an option of walking off or fighting, you know, whatever. And there is a degree of truth to that, but for the most part, it's not. There were rebellions and people did try to fight back, and they usually got killed, you know. So he was wrong about that, but he's not wrong about everything. He is right about black people being on the plantation when it comes to Democrats. Like, there's always an assumption that black people are going to go vote Democrat because they're right. And there are plenty of black people who are conservative who've, you know, voted Republican and been disowned by their family. You know, it's pretty crazy. And, you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to say other than that. Like, it's just insane to me that we treat, you know, and it's not just blacks. Like I said, like, when it comes to, like, sexism, go follow any female conservative and go see what people who are like all Me Too movement and shit like that will say. They'll call them whore. They'll say, like, I'm going to rape you. You deserve to die. They get it all the fucking time. Not because they're, you know, they're a woman, because they're conservative. And you're not allowed to be conservative when you're a woman. You have fucking dumb cunts on, you know, Comedy Central or CNN saying, oh, that woman, which I'm not mad at her. She's a comedian. She's a shitty comedian, but she's a comedian. Michelle Wolf at the White House Correspondents' Dinner said, you know, something to the effect of Sarah Huckabee Sanders, you know, was a disappointment to other women. Why? Because she didn't vote for Hillary, because she didn't vote for somebody because she had a vagina, and you don't even know that she didn't vote for. She might have voted for Hillary. That doesn't mean, you know, like, I seriously doubt that Trump, like, pulled her voting record, you know. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that, you know, and some of this stuff might have changed by the time this comes out. I think this is actually going to be posted at the end of the current episode. But
okay, well, there you go. Now we know that the intro must suffice.
Do you have anything else to say? Because I know you're busy.
No, man. I got to go deal with this gentleman coming to pick up his car, and other than that, you know, I'm disappointed that I didn't get to go to Frightmare this year. I'm sad, but our friend Billy Pond, the man, the myth, is hooking me up. He made a former guest of the show. Remember Ray Ballard, who came on the show? Gentleman who worked with Billy on some of his movies.
Vaguely.
Yeah. Well, he made Ray stand in line for a Clive Barker autograph for me, so that was really cool of him.
Okay.
Yeah. So I appreciate that very much, Billy. It's going to mean a lot. I couldn't be there to get it myself.
Well, all right. Well, that'll do it for the Metal Hand Guy podcast. I've been Adam, and we'll see you in a few days.
All right.
All right.